Hi, this is David Cochrane. I am the research director for the International Society for Astrological Research. I'm interviewing astrologers who are making discoveries, finding something new, either doing research or digging into historical information, in some way bringing information we did not know before. This is my second interview here in Istanbul with Oner Doser, who is finding out what astrologers were doing during the Ottoman era here in Turkey, and we did not know before. So this is real discovery. What were they doing, these astrologers? And he's been explaining to me astrologers played a big, huge, important role in society. They even had a head astrologer in the palace. So he's going to tell us about this, the book that they found. He's working with 3 translators to bring this information to us. And again, we did not really know what these people were doing. Were they using medieval ideas of essential dignities? Are they using fixed stars? What are they doing? Well, he's finding out, and let him explain to us what you're discovering about astrology. What is this Ottoman era? What is this book? When was it written? What is this new world we didn't know about?
Actually, this book is written in the 19th century by Sadullah Efendi. Sadullah el-Ankaravi, we can call. He was living in Ankara. Actually, he was born in Ankara, but he was living most of the times, especially after 30s of him, in Istanbul, in a good networking with the high ranked people in Istanbul, actually. He was a munejjim, which is astrologer in Ottoman times. And we found this book actually from Kandilli Observatory Library with the help of one of my graduate students. She was an academician and she was a historian. She said she found out something very valuable. Actually, another colleague of her was mentioning Sadullah Efendi in one of her theses and one of her articles, and she found out from there. So she said, "Hey teacher, I found something which might be very important as you are looking for." And she told me, actually we founded a project which is called Tamak in Turkish by 2015, 9 April 2015. We founded this project to translate from Ottoman astrology texts. And not only astrology, of course, astronomy, because astrology and astronomy were together.
They're together.
They were called ilmi nujum. During the times of Ottoman, ilmi nujum means the science of the stars, actually. So we started to translate something beginning from that meeting. It was the first meeting, and the sun was in his most exaltation degree, 19 Aries. Of course, and there was the chart of it. Of course, it is elected. And the electional astrology is one of the most precious branches of Ottoman astrology, by the way. It was called ihtiyarat in Ottoman. Ihtiyarat means which you elected by your own will. And they were also practicing mesail, which is called horary astrology.
So same things that were going on in the Middle Ages and today, electional astrology, horary astrology.
And mewalid they were calling, which is natal astrology. And of course, all this branch is called as ilmi ahkam nujum. Ahkam means judgment. So actually, this is judgmental astrology.
Right.
And to Ottomans, the astrology came from Persians, actually. Most of its prints are coming from Persian astrology. Astrology was in palace beginning from 15th century, and by the time of conqueror Mehmed, Sultan Mehmed, who was the conqueror of Istanbul, Constantinople, in 1453, he used some astrologers, mediums of him, to do his last attack.
Uh-huh.
So he asked them about the auspicious time to do the last attack. And after his son, astrology was in the palace for 500 years.
I guess it was a good election, right?
Yeah.
Very successful.
Yeah. And there were 37 head mediums. Actually, there were mediums, there were head mediums, and head medium was responsible from the palace's needs. For example, if Sultan asks something from him, or if some important rank of politicians want something from him.
Okay.
And they were taught very well, not in astrology, but also astronomy and mathematics.
Okay.
So to be the head medium, you have to be very well educated.
And this continues right up until the end of the era, which was
Yeah.
1920,
24.
1924. So from about 1500
Yeah.
to 1924,
Yeah.
in the palace,
Yeah.
there's a head astrologer.
Yeah.
And he-
27 head astrologers.
37.
Beginning from that time until the death of the last.
The
head
last one, the
medium.
37th and last
Yeah.
head medium,
Yeah,
head
yeah,
astrologer.
yeah, yeah.
So can you imagine this? There's a palace with all the royalty, and there's a head astrologer
Yeah.
who's also you might say scientist, astronomer, mathematician,
Yeah.
and judgment. It's
Judgment.
not like just psychological. Oh, we need to, make you more confident or something. This is, should we go to war today or tomorrow? Should she marry him? With
Yeah.
these making very definite decisions, playing that important
Yeah.
role.
Yeah.
So really, Turkey, through that whole time period, right up until modern era, 1924, is like a heartland of astrology.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fundamental
Yeah.
to the whole
And-
operating.
And they were paid by the government.
Yeah.
They were in the palace.
They were in the palace.
Yeah, yeah. So one of them actually is my relative.
Oh, yes.
Actually, not a blood relative, but from mother's side. My mother's aunt's father-in-law
Okay.
was a head astrologer, between 1903 1909 for 6 years.
Okay.
He was in the palace, and he had many books which he left behind, but they were all given to the museum.
Okay.
I couldn't have them yet. Actually, my elders are saying, if we didn't know that you would practice astrology, we wouldn't give them. Oh, and the clothes, they had some special clothes.
Clothes.
Clothes, yes.
Yes.
And they had stamps, they
Yeah.
like their signs.
Yeah.
So they were very seriously responsible from something, actually, a
Right.
very well educated man. And after I learned that that man was from the family, although afar related.
Right. Distant relation.
But I pay interest to the history in Ottoman astrology, to history of mediums. So I started that project in 2015. But before that, I had learned many things from the family.
Okay.
For example, that head medium was electing every time for good times to stop everything. He
Wow.
was telling to the family, stop, don't enter this house at that time, just wait a bit more, something like that.
Wow. That's
Auspicious
amazing.
times were very important to him.
Right. And so we did not know exactly what kind of astrology the head mediums and the other mediums, the astrologers, were practicing. And then this student of yours, graduate of yours, through some connections, finds out that there's this book
Yeah.
in the library of the observatory,
Yeah.
and it's in 3 languages.
Yeah,
Right?
it contains.
So this is the
3
book. Let's show
this
people.
is the book. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually.
Why don't you hold it since you're
Yeah, I will. And there
You
are
can
some.
show them.
Yeah. Very well written. By the way, can you see the writings? They are so.
It's so beautifully
Beautiful.
done.
Yeah.
This is the
There are
actual.
many charts in it. as you
And
see
how
here.
huge this book is.
Yeah, huge
Enormous.
information. Actually, after we complete the translation, probably there will be over 1,000 pages, 1,500 it will be
Yeah.
around. Because this is actually 570 pages. But when you start translating it, one page makes 3 pages,
Right.
almost 3 pages. So actually it's a big task because it includes 3 different languages: Persian, Ottoman, and Arabic.
And you were explaining to me the reason why there are 3 languages in here is
Yeah.
because he quotes original sources.
Yeah.
And those sources might be in Persian,
Yeah,
or,
in
you know,
Ottoman or Arabic.
Ottoman or Arabic.
Yeah, so he's giving references to ancient astrologers which he gets the information from, and he puts them in his book as they are in their own original languages.
Wow.
This is why this includes 3 different languages.
Right. And one of the biggest traditions that he's drawing upon is Persian astrology.
Persian.
But he also draws from other sources. You mentioned, he even mentions William Lilly, is that right?
Yeah, William Lilly, but before that, Vitius Valens,
Vedius
Claudius
Valens.
Ptolemy.
Wow.
He's saying Bathlamius, actually. And then, yes, William Lilly. And as I understand from his writings, he was inspired from William Lilly very much. So he was using his calculation system as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when we started translating this book, actually, first we started to transcripted it because we couldn't read it, what he is saying, what he is talking about. And
Because
then-
it's such an ancient form.
yeah,
Yes.
ancient, and it's very difficult to
Yes.
understand. So 4 different people were working on the project, not only translation, transcription, and of course, one is helping me to understand what he is trying to say, so that I made a book in Turkish.
This is the first of a series of books
Yes.
that explain what's in this book. And let me
Exactly.
just repeat this because people might be getting overloaded with information.
Yeah.
So this book was written in the early 1800s
Yes.
by Sadullah Effendi, also known as Sadullah of Ankara. Right?
Bravo.
I mean, English translation.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good. Very
Thank
good.
you. I'm learning little by little. And this is the first book that explains
Yeah.
what is in this book.
Yes.
And it's the first of a series. And this is on...
This is planetary strength. This is on planetary strength.
Right.
Because he is giving you huge information about planetary strengths. Orientality, Occidentality, and, you know, to being compass, Kazmi, everything.
Wow.
As we know from Arabic astrology or Persian astrology, and he is giving references to Ebu Mosher and some ancient Persian astrologers.
So one thing we've learned about this astrology, practiced probably, you were telling me, probably fairly consistently throughout this whole Ottoman era,
Yeah.
is that it was sophisticated.
Yeah.
Because they're using essential dignities, but they're also including fixed stars in those
Yeah.
essential dignities, and
Yeah.
Oriental and whether it's Occidental, and
Yeah.
all, you know, it's a very
Everything.
sophisticated form of
And
astrology.
also he is giving you information how to teach a child, how to train a child looking at his child.
Really, like the best way for that child to learn.
For that child, what can you do for him? And he is giving information about describing the physical appearance of the person.
Wow.
Like William Lilly sometimes.
Yes.
And he is also teaching how to calculate length of life.
Oh,
That was very
that was a common thing, yeah.
You know what is interesting? My relative, as I told, he was a head manager. He collected every people from his family one day, and they asked why did they do it. On that day he died, and they said he calculated his death of die actually.
Wow.
Interestingly, and he collected people to say goodbye. It was interesting. Of course, we
Yeah.
learned some techniques
Yeah.
to calculate length of life from myself, from
Sure.
Robert Zoller's courses, etc. But this is 60% successful.
Mhm.
I cannot say 100%. But he is giving interesting information about those calculations as well.
Yes. And you know, we do not have a lot of books that teach in detail, you know, from any era.
Yeah.
And so one of the wonderful things about this is the level of detail.
Exactly.
You know, so that you're really getting a full idea of
Yeah.
all of the details of how
Yeah.
people interpret.
And he's teaching how to elect the best time for something, and he's teaching how to reply the questions, which is horrid, and also medical astrology. He's giving
Wow.
information something about medical astrology.
Right.
He's giving some auspicious times about praying. What times are the best for praying?
Right.
To wish something. Very interesting, full of information.
Yeah, you know, all of us in the field of astrology, we work forever or we explore forever because there's no end to it. And just this alone
Yeah.
is going to keep us very busy. You know, I'm in software development. We need to
Yeah.
program all these
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
eventually. And he has interpretations as well, right?
Yeah, actually, this is really a treasure
Yeah.
because he is teaching and also he is practicing. He is giving some charts.
Yeah.
For example, he's giving some ingress charts and giving the most important events of that year
Wow.
and comparing with the chart. So he's
Wow.
teaching you mundane astrology, not just the books, textbook, but also practicing book.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a hands-on experience.
Yeah.
You know, and if books like this were not left behind somewhere, we would have no way of knowing. You know, so like you say, it's a treasure that it's like a time machine. We can go back
Yeah.
to that time and place and see what they were doing. And also because the astrology was probably fairly consistent
Mm-hmm.
across that whole Ottoman era. I mean, there's going to be always some variation. But you were telling me probably not as much as today, where every 30 years somebody comes up with a new idea.
Yeah.
So we're getting, you know, a good insight into the whole time period
Yeah.
of how
Yeah,
astrology is
exactly.
done.
What I see from that book, actually, it is very looking like what I learned from Robert Zolder's courses as he is teaching the teachings of Abu Mashar, El-Biruni, Abu Ali al-Hayat. It is almost the same, and it didn't that much change until the 19th century. I mean, in our developing astrology techniques,
Right.
After the 18th century, it's changed very much. It started
Yeah.
to change. But it seems that he's still keeping that ancient practices until he dies.
Okay.
1980s, around that time.
Right. Or 1890s. Right.
1850s, sorry about
Right, right, okay.
1850s, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, right. That would
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's encouraging for people who are learning medieval astrology, that
Exactly.
there's a consistency and a continuity.
And he has some very different techniques.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, we are still finding them out. But of course, this first book is in Turkish, but I will have it translated into English as well.
Eventually.
Yeah, so no worries, it will be very soon, very understandable, and since it will be English, of course, it will be read by many more people.
Oh, yes.
This
yes.
is what is my purpose, to let people to gain this information for themselves.
Right, to make it available. So this is a huge undertaking. You have 3 different translator specialists.
Yeah.
You have the people that transcripted it into a modern
Yeah,
Turkish
yeah.
and or modern versions of languages. Now all this translation of this huge amount of material, and then you as an astrologer understanding what it actually means
Mhm.
and applying it. It takes a lot of time and energy and resources, and somebody has to go out on a limb, because we don't have big funding research institutes to help us very often with these things. So that you've made this a priority and you built a team of people
Yeah.
to do this is just a huge, blessing for the field of astrology, that we need as many people as we can doing as many things to understand what this wild world of astrology in. So this is exciting.
And since the last 2.5 years, we are working on it, studying on it, and we are still at the half of the book.
Right.
So we need at least 2.5 years more to complete the book. But the small books are coming.
The small books are coming as you progress
As
through
series,
this.
yeah.
So over the next few years, we're going to get more translations, more books. Myself and my team will be programming this
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
because people want the information. Oh, it's exciting, and that's why we get together, and I come here to Istanbul, and we meet and we develop these things and make it available to people and get the information out
And
there.
thank you for your coming once again.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you so much. I think we've covered it all. Anything else? I think
Yeah, that's
pretty
it.
much it. Let's end this holding up this treasure, okay?
Yeah, exactly. It's a
Because
treasure.
this is just amazing. Am I holding it upside up? Is that what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is, my friends. Thank you very much for watching this. God bless. Namaste.
Thank you.